This show is part of OnePlace, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to the program. We have a packed sports update today, covering everything from the greens of Augusta to the hardwood of the NBA and the latest financial shifts in women's basketball.
Tiger Woods officially misses the Masters after his arrest.
Kevin Durant's crossover highlights a massive Rockets comeback win.
Benches clear as Braves and Angels trade actual punches.
Details emerge on the Soler and Lopez mound charge.
Analysts debate if Fernando Mendoza is the ultimate clutch QB.
WNBA Supermax contracts are set to transform player salaries.
A look back at Tiger Woods' history of controversy.
Jason Kelsey joins the Masters broadcast for the Par 3.
Starting with Tiger Woods.
The golf world is reeling from the confirmation that Tiger Woods will not be competing in the Masters this week at Augusta National. This news follows a turbulent period for the 15-time major champion, culminating in a DUI arrest in late March after a single-car accident. Even before the legal trouble, Tiger's participation was in serious doubt due to his ongoing recovery from lumbar disc surgery and a previous Achilles injury that sidelined him in 2005. He had openly admitted to reporters that his body simply doesn't bounce back like it did in his 20s, describing a reality where some days he can move freely, while others are a struggle just to walk. The arrest essentially sealed his fate for this year's tournament, as he is now reportedly in treatment and focusing on his health rather than competition.
It is a somber update for fans who hold out hope every year for another miracle at Augusta. Interestingly, Donald Trump actually hinted at this outcome just a day before the wreck, mentioning on Fox News that Tiger would be present at the course but wouldn't be playing. Now that it is official, the focus shifts to the top 30 golfers who are actually in the field, like Scottie Scheffler and Justin Thomas. Tiger's absence leaves a massive void in the tournament's star power, especially since he had shown a glimmer of hope by participating in the TGL recently, even if it was in a limited capacity. At 50 years old, the road back to professional play looks steeper than ever, particularly with the added weight of these recent legal and personal setbacks that have once again overshadowed his legendary career.
Now to the NBA.
Kevin Durant made a loud return to Phoenix, but not in the way Suns fans might have hoped. Now playing for the Houston Rockets, Durant led his team to a 119-105 victory, marking their 7th straight win. The highlight of the night was a second quarter play where Durant absolutely juked Dillon Brooks, sending the notorious instigator stumbling to his knees before Durant drained a jumper. Brooks had been trying to get under Durant's skin with physical defense and trash talk, but Durant proved why he is one of the all-time greats by letting his game do the talking. The Rockets actually trailed by 21 points early on, but this specific sequence seemed to fuel their comeback. Durant finished with 24 points, including 5 three-pointers, showing he still has plenty of elite basketball left in the tank.
After the game, Durant was dismissive of Brooks's antics, stating that he doesn't give him credit for being a motivator. He noted that while Brooks might get other players going, he isn't special enough to change how Durant prepares for a game. This win was particularly sweet for Houston as they improved to 50-29 on the season. It also served as a reminder of the trade that sent Durant to Houston in exchange for Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks. While the Suns have been better than many expected this year, sitting at 43-36, they couldn't stop the momentum of a Rockets team that is peaking at the right time. The Phoenix crowd gave Durant a mixed reception of cheers and boos, reflecting a complicated legacy from his 2.5 seasons spent in the desert.
Moving to Major League Baseball.
Things got incredibly heated in Anaheim during the Braves' 7-2 victory over the Angels. What started as a standard game turned into a full-blown brawl in the 5th inning between Atlanta starter Reynaldo Lopez and Angels hitter Jorge Soler. The tension had been building since earlier in the game when Lopez hit Soler in the hand with a fastball. When another high pitch sailed over the head of catcher Jonah Heim in the 5th, Soler had seen enough. He charged the mound, and punches were actually thrown between the two. One of the most surreal moments of the night was Braves coach Walt Weiss executing a perfect form tackle to bring Soler down and stop the chaos. Both Lopez and Soler were promptly ejected, and the league is almost certainly looking at significant suspensions for both players involved in the melee.
Despite the fireworks, the Braves managed to stay focused and pull away for the win. They were trailing early after a Soler home run, but they chipped away with RBI hits from Eli White and Austin Riley. Ozzie Albies added a solo shot in the 8th to provide some breathing room. The Braves' bullpen was also impressive, with Raisel Iglesias coming in to strike out 2 straight batters with the bases loaded to preserve the lead. It was a gritty performance for Atlanta on a long West Coast road trip. They showed they could handle the physical confrontation and still execute on the field. The series wraps up Wednesday afternoon, but the talk of the town will definitely be that 5th-inning explosion. It is rare to see a mound charge result in actual haymakers being thrown, especially between 2 high-profile veterans like these.
More on that fight.
The video of the Soler and Lopez fight is already going viral because of how intense the exchange was. When Soler charged the mound, Lopez didn't back down. He actually started throwing punches while still holding the baseball in his hand. It was a chaotic scene as both benches cleared and the scrum moved toward the first baseline. The history between these two in this specific game is what really lit the fuse. Soler had already homered off Lopez in the first inning, scoring Mike Trout and giving the Angels an early lead. When Lopez plunked him in the 3rd, the frustration started to boil over. By the time that high heater came in the 5th, Soler clearly felt it was intentional. First base umpire Vic Carapazza had the difficult task of restoring order and tossing both primary participants from the contest.
The ejection of Lopez forced the Braves to go to their bullpen earlier than planned, bringing in Tyler Kinley. Even with the sudden change, the Angels couldn't capitalize on the momentum of the brawl. Jeimer Candelario, who came in to replace Soler, struck out to end the threat in that same inning. It is a tough blow for the Angels, who lost their most productive hitter of the night in Soler. For the Braves, losing their starter mid-game is never ideal, but their depth carried them through. This incident highlights the unwritten rules of baseball and how quickly a game can turn from a strategic battle into a physical one. Fans are now waiting to see how the commissioner's office handles the discipline, as throwing punches is a line that usually results in a multi-game sit-down for everyone involved.
Next, college football talk.
The hype around Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza is reaching a fever pitch as the NFL draft approaches. On a recent episode of The Joel Klatt Show, both Klatt and draft expert Todd McShay made a bold claim they would take Mendoza over almost any other young quarterback in the NFL to lead a game-winning drive. This is high praise considering the talent currently in the league, like Caleb Williams and Bo Nix. Mendoza's resume is certainly impressive, having led Indiana to a perfect 16-0 season and a national title. He is the first player since Joe Burrow in 2019 to win both the Heisman and the championship in the same year. Klatt argued that Mendoza's ability to perform in hostile environments, like his fourth-quarter comebacks at Iowa and Penn State, proves he has the mental toughness required for the next level.
Todd McShay was slightly more measured, but still incredibly high on Mendoza, saying the only other young QB he might consider in that clutch scenario is Drake May. McShay admitted that while the NFL is a different beast, Mendoza's college career was statistically and practically one of the best we have seen since the turn of the decade. He pointed to the Big Ten championship win over Ohio State and the title game victory over Miami as proof that Mendoza doesn't blink when the lights are brightest. While Caleb Williams had 6 fourth-quarter comebacks for the Bears last year, Klatt and McShay seem to think Mendoza possesses a unique it factor that transcends raw stats. As the draft nears, the debate over whether his collegiate dominance will translate to NFL Sunday success is becoming one of the biggest storylines in football.
Shifting to the WNBA.
The WNBA is entering a new era of player compensation with the introduction of the Supermax contract. For years, players have fought for salaries that better reflect their value, and the new collective bargaining agreement is finally delivering. A Supermax contract in the WNBA is now set to start at $1.4 million, which is a massive jump from previous years. To qualify, a player needs at least 5 years of service with their current team and must have achieved high-level accolades like an MVP award or an All-NBA selection within the last 3 seasons. This structure is designed to reward the league's elite stars and encourage them to stay with their franchises. In 2000-2006, these contracts will account for 20% of the $7 million salary cap, up from the 16.5% seen in the previous agreement.
What is even more exciting for the younger generation is the EPIC provision, which stands for Exceptional Performance on Initial Contract. This allows rising stars like Caitlin Clark, Paige Buchers, and Aaliyah Boston to renegotiate their rookie deals early if they meet certain performance criteria. For example, if a player makes an All-WNBA team or wins MVP during their rookie contract, they can jump straight to a maximum or Supermax extension much sooner than previously allowed. This change is a direct response to the massive influx of talent and viewership the league has seen recently. It ensures that the players driving the league's popularity are being paid accordingly. As the open market nears, we expect to see several of these glitzy deals signed, fundamentally changing the financial landscape of women's professional basketball and providing a clearer path to wealth for top athletes.
Back to Tiger's history.
Tiger Woods' recent DUI arrest is unfortunately just the latest chapter in a long history of off-course struggles. While he is undeniably one of the greatest athletes of the 21st century with 15 majors, his personal life has often been a lightning rod for controversy. It all really started back in 2009 with the infamous infidelity scandal that began with allegations of an affair with Rachel Uchitel. That led to the late-night car crash outside his Florida home, where he hit a fire hydrant and a tree. At the time, Tiger released a statement admitting he was human and not perfect, but the floodgates opened with more reports of various affairs. This period marked a massive shift in his public image, moving from a symbol of pure sporting dominance to a figure frequently embroiled in legal and personal turmoil that affected his sponsorships and his game.
The timeline of trouble didn't stop there. Over the years, he has faced multiple back surgeries and health scares, but the 2026 DUI arrest feels like a significant setback in his attempt to maintain a stable comeback. Every time Tiger seems to be finding his footing, another incident occurs that reminds the public of his complicated journey. From the 2009 Cadillac crash to this latest wreck, the pattern of single-car accidents followed by legal scrutiny has become a recurring theme. Despite these issues, his legacy on the golf course remains largely untouched for many fans who still view him as the gold standard of the sport. However, as he nears the end of his competitive years, these controversies are increasingly becoming a permanent part of the Tiger Woods story, sitting right alongside his 5 green jackets and his record-breaking run at the top of the world rankings.
Finally, Jason Kelce's news.
In a fun twist for Masters Week, former Philadelphia Eagles center Jason Kelce is joining the ESPN broadcast team. While the Masters is known for its strict traditions and dignified atmosphere, Kelce is being brought in specifically for the Par 3 contest on Wednesday. This event is much more relaxed than the actual tournament, often featuring players' families and children on the course. ESPN believes Kelce's massive personality and ability to connect with casual fans will bring a fresh energy to the coverage. He won't be calling the main tournament action, but he will be interviewing participants during the Par 3 event. It is a smart move by the network to leverage Kelce's popularity, especially since he is such a natural in front of the camera and can keep things light while still being respectful of the hallowed grounds at Augusta.
Kelce's role is a perfect fit because the Par 3 contest is the one time during the week where the rigid rules of Augusta are slightly loosened. You won't hear him using the banned words like fans or sand trap during the main broadcast, but for the Wednesday fun, he is the ideal host. The rest of the ESPN team includes veterans like Michael Eaves, Curtis Strange, and Andy North, who will handle the more serious analysis. Kelce's presence is clearly an attempt to draw in the New Heights podcast crowd and those who might not typically tune in for golf. It will be interesting to see how the future Hall of Famer handles the transition from the football field to the pristine greens of Georgia. If his past media appearances are any indication, he will likely be the highlight of the Wednesday afternoon coverage for many viewers.
That wraps up our sports roundup for today. Be sure to check back tomorrow for more updates on the Masters and the NBA playoffs. Thanks for listening to our daily briefing.